Welcome back. Well, data from Innos shows that IT hiring mandates in February has jumped 50% month on month and up. In fact, even Naukri Jobs Peak Index shows picking up in IT hiring for TeamLease Services. Ramani, hi, good morning, and thanks a lot for joining in. It's interesting to see coming back. So, can you tell us a little bit about the trends? Is there a genuine hiring, or is it just a 1-2 month phenomenon?
Yeah, I think it's IT hiring is fully back because as of now, we have started it coming only in very small numbers and also with very few companies. It's not even 10% of the hiring that what we used to. So we would say that maybe one more quarter, we need to see the hiring has really picked up or not. GCCs continue to hire. So there we are seeing good number of hirings happening across the spectrum, whereas Indian IT services are still going on overall hiring.
Ma'am, hi, morning. Could you quantify that IT hiring? What's been the growth? And GCC, what's been? I mean, is that more than offsetting? That's a question. Has been doing very well. Does that offset in a meaningful way the loss in momentum on the IT side?
Not really, because the quantum of hiring that happens in IT service, what we are seeing as GCC hiring currently. But the thing is, GCCs are hiring at higher skill set level salaries, more of niche skills and above 4 to 8 years where the maximum hirings are happening. However, the entry level and mid-level hirings, which typically used to happen at volume in IT services, they are yet to pick up. And also whatever hiring that we are seeing in IT services front right now are more of backfilling of the attrition, which they have postponed for the past few quarters. So these are not new hirings so far going by the trend. Many of them are still backfillings of the attrition, whereas GCCs, all of them are new positions. So this phenomena will continue with GCCs contributing to a higher share of hiring for the next few quarters. So that would continue. And we have to see one more quarter for the pickup in IT service hiring.
Okay, all right. Hi, Ramani. Good morning and good to see you in. So as you're saying is there is some sign of improvement, but you'll have to wait for another quarter to confirm that, yes, there is a lot of improvement. Got that. I wanted your take on both the parts of the business, that's the specialized staffing as well as the general staffing. Now, on specialized staffing, you recorded, I think, a double-digit growth after 6 quarters. Are you seeing that sort of a pace being maintained? Point number one. And on the general staffing, what about ahead of elections? Do we normally see some kind of an uptake in this part of the business as well?
Yeah. Firstly, on specialized staffing, last quarter, so there is a one-off large hiring and one specific client we did. Because of that, there is a double-digit growth. Otherwise, it would be more or less stagnant for 1 or 2 quarters more. And we are having good discussions in terms of hirings, that hirings might get picked up after Q1. But I want to see, as I mentioned, so we would like to see one more quarter before we comment on whether there is a real pickup or not. Coming to general staffing, last quarter, BFSI, the amount of hiring in BFSI was little slow because of RBI restrictions on unsecured loans and the recovery agents, those kind of hirings. However, now we have seen the recovery happening across other segments. Q4, we are expecting 10,000 plus net headcount addition in general staffing. And even for coming quarters also, we are very bullish in terms of the overall hiring numbers. And in terms of, specific to your question on whether the pre-election has any kind of impact, in the past we didn't had. So we usually maintain a similar trend across the quarters.
Okay. Can you tell us a little more about BFSI hiring? I mean, it has been muted for the last couple of quarters. And are there any signs of a ramp up that you're seeing in the BFSI sector at all in terms of hiring?
Yeah. BFSI is still slow. because last 2 years, it is the highest sector contributing in terms of the headcount and volume for us. Whereas Q3, because of the reasons I mentioned, RBI being more cautious on the hiring, especially on the unsecured segment where we have a higher exposure. So that to some extent has impacted the BFSI volume hiring. And even Q4, there is a slight impact, but the recovery has started in Feb in the month of Feb.
Okay, so that is on the BFSI space. Can you tell us, there are other sectors, right? There's oil and gas, pharma, FMCG. There was decent hiring that we saw in the month of February, but any of these spaces seeing disproportionate gains this month, in the month of March, and what is the expectation over the next few months in terms of hiring in these sectors?
Yeah. I wouldn't say there is any kind of disproportionate volume hiring in any of the specific sectors, but we are seeing good momentum getting picked up, specific to manufacturing, pharma, engineering, industrial. So these are the segments which we are seeing an uptick compared to last couple of years. We are seeing a good volume of hiring coming back.
Okay, all right.
And
Final
all the
question.
other segments, be it FMCG, FMCD, so they continue to maintain the same kind of momentum what we have been seeing for the past few quarters.
Okay, all right. Ramani, final question before we let you go. Then you've told us in the past that unless IT hiring picks up full throttle, it'll be difficult for you to get to that 2% odd mark in terms of margins. How far away will you be from that particular mark? If you could give us some broad guidance in the coming year.
I mean, till the time we are certain about the IT recovery, it's very difficult to give any kind of indication on margin expansion. The leverage in general staffing and the pickup in HR services, we are confident of margin expansion by few basis points quarter on quarter. However, going back to the 2% EBITDA margin, which we have achieved just before COVID, for us to get back there, the IT recovery is extremely important.
Ramani, great to speak with you as always. Thank you very much for joining us and appreciate you taking out the time and speaking with us here. Thank you very much. That's TeamLease, the management, telling us that IT hiring, which is of course the big sort of growth driver, which has been the big growth driver over the last many years, that continues to slack. Maybe a quarter more is what they said for things to pick up a little bit more. Stocks at about 2,800 plus, about 3% higher. The next